Outside the Red Box, insights into global research equipment distribution. Welcome to the Outside the Red Box podcast, your go-to podcast for insights on growing and scaling life science brands globally. Brought to you by Redbox Direct, we specialize in outsourced sales, distribution, and manufacturing for scientific instruments, with over 20 years of hands-on experience. Let's get started with today's episode.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us, break them down, and give you knowledge you can use right away. So if you're leading a technical business, maybe engineering, maybe manufacturing, that rigor, process, that systemization, well, that's everything, right? It governs your R&D, your production. It's the bedrock.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's this one area, and it's arguably the most critical one, the engine that actually turns all that brilliant innovation into revenue. And that's where systemization often just gets ignored. It creates this massive, totally self-imposed business risk. It's quite something to see.
So today, we're doing a deep dive specifically into sales effectiveness. And we're tailoring this for SME manufacturing and tech companies because the dynamic there is quite unique. We're really here to dismantle this idea that sales is some kind of art, not a science, and show why having a formal written sales process isn't just nice to have, it's essential, like for survival and growth.
Exactly. Our mission here is to unpack the usual failure points we see in these kinds of sales operations and really understand why relying on that individual talent, the star salesperson, is probably the fastest way to limit your growth and, frankly, reduce your company's future value. We're pulling these insights from a really sharp analysis on this topic, written by Rory Gagan, director at Redbox Direct.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because the really surprising thing, the thing that jumps out from this material, is that in companies built on logic, on engineering discipline, sales is often treated, well, not like a core function you manage, but almost like magic, or voodoo even.
Right, and to get why that happens, you have to look at how these businesses often start. The source material points this out clearly. Many tech manufacturers, they're founded by engineers or scientists, innovators. Their passion, their whole focus is on creating the most elegant solution, the most novel tech, the superior product.
And that creates this predictable hierarchy of interest, almost a bias.
It really does. And it can be dangerous. Think about it. The founders' passion, their focus, it naturally goes like this. Number one, top of the list, designing products. That's where the heart is. Then, okay, producing those products efficiently, they're fairly interested in that, makes sense. But selling products, the actual hard, messy work of getting it out there and getting paid, often, genuinely, there's just no interest at all, except, of course, in the final number, the total sales figure. They want that to be high.
Yeah, that's the hypocrisy, isn't it? The central contradiction in so many technical SMEs. It's fascinating because these same companies, they are absolute sticklers for detail everywhere else. You look at R&D, it's all formal processes, design controls, risk analysis, revision tracking, traceability, the works, production, governed by strict quality management system, precise SOPs.
Exactly, total discipline. But then you ask them, okay, apply that same common sense, that same rigor to the sales function. The department that's literally supposed to turn all that R&D investment into actual cash flow. And they often just balk. They resist. They essentially refuse to write down the steps needed to consistently bring in revenue.
And that refusal, that lack of applying logic to sales, it leads directly to these classic excuses or assertions you hear all the time. They're really red flags signaling a deep operational problem.
Oh, absolutely. There are three specific quotes mentioned that really capture this reliance on individuals. They're very telling. The first one is, I hired an experienced salesperson, but he or she just didn't work out for us. What that tells you is the company just hired a resume. They expected instant magic. But there was no system, no process for that experienced person to actually plug into and succeed within their specific context.
Right. And the second one, it sounds positive, but it's actually a massive risk indicator. We have a great salesperson. I don't know how he or she does it.
You don't know how your primary revenue generator operates. Seriously. That's not sustainable success. That's just hoping your lottery ticket keeps paying out.
And inevitably, that leads to the third one, the painful one.
Yeah, the inevitable outcome when that risk materializes. Sales have dropped since our star salesperson left. Think about that. One single event, one person changing jobs should never destabilize your entire company's revenue. If it does, it points to a business that's maybe operating more like a hobby. Because, as the source material rightly points out, quoting a mentor, the fundamental difference between a business and a hobby It's sales. Systemized, reliable sales. That's what makes it a viable business.
Okay, so that brings us right into diagnosing this phenomenon. Let's call it voodoo selling. Because if the company is totally reliant on that one-star performer and they've never bothered to figure out how they do it, well, they're just practicing magic, aren't they? They put their brilliant innovation right in the firing line, caught between, having a repeatable process and potential financial ruin when that star leaves.
Exactly. And when leaders finally realize this is a problem, they often try to fix it the wrong way. They look at the star performers and they try to clone their personality. They think success is all about being naturally charismatic or super assertive or just being, a natural closer.
But if we actually break down what separates the consistent high performer, the one hitting targets month after month, from the average salesperson, we can see it's not just about personality. There are process elements too.
That's the key distinction. We can split the success factors. You've got the personality-focused traits, the things you tend to hire for, like being assertive, persuasive, maybe being naturally organized. These are valuable, sure, but they're intangible. And critically, they walk out the door when the employee leaves. You can't easily teach them. You can't bake them into the company's assets.
Okay, so what are the other factors, the ones we can control?
Right. The process-focused elements. These are the things that can be implemented, documented, and owned by the business itself. And the source material points to two really crucial ones. First, star performers are usually incredibly disciplined about doing the regular, sometimes boring sales tasks. They don't skip follow-ups. They don't forget to qualify properly. They log the CRM data immediately. It's consistent execution.
Okay, discipline. That makes sense. And the second?
Second, they analyze their activities constantly in terms of outcomes. They practice structured refinement. They look hard at what worked and what didn't. And critically, they dump the activities that don't bring in sales, the time wasters, the tire kickers who never convert, and they double down, increase their use of the activities they know are effective for their product and market.
Okay. So get this. That discipline, that analysis and refinement, that's not actually magic at all.
Not at all. That is the sales process. It's just hidden. It's an undocumented, highly effective sales process that's currently just living inside that star performer's head. The company's job is to extract that process, write it down, make it explicit, and then implement it comprehensively across the whole team. That's how you get continuity.
Okay, but here's where I push back a little. I hear that advice. Just document what the best person does. But sales, especially complex B2B sales, isn't just ticking boxes, is it? It relies on human connection, timing, reading the room, intuition. Can you really document charisma or emotional intelligence? Doesn't trying to turn that into a procedure just kill the very thing that makes it work?
That's a really fair challenge, and it's a common one. But the answer is about separating the skill from the step. You're right, you can't document charisma in a checklist. You can't proceduralize intuition. But what you can document and must document is the required sequence of interactions, the framework, the system that maximizes the chances for those skills to actually succeed. Think of it like this. The star performer might instinctively know the perfect moment to ask for the commitment. That's the skill. But the documented process ensures that before they even get to that point, they have systematically confirmed crucial things. Like, does the prospect definitely have the budget? Is the pain point we solve clearly understood and acknowledged? Do we know who the real decision maker is? Those are systematic checks. That systematic approach, that is what remains as a company asset when the charisma walks out the door.
I see. So the process isn't meant to replace the skill, but to provide the guardrails, the roadmap. It ensures that even an average performer, maybe someone less intuitive, still moves through the critical commercial gateways reliably. They don't miss essential steps.
Precisely. The system provides the safety net and the structure. And understanding that distinction skill versus step leads us right into the next big pitfall, which is companies realizing they need structure and then grabbing the first generic sales methodology off the shelf.
Right. And we really need to caution listeners against this. The source material specifically warns about external snake oil salespeople or these generic sales gurus offering one-size-fits-all methods.
Yeah, the risk there is twofold. First, you end up paying a consultant a lot of money to teach generic skills to your staff. Second, those skills, because they are generic, they're fundamentally disconnected from your specific product, your unique market, your company culture. So what happens when those staff members eventually leave and people always move on? They take all that expensive training and knowledge with them. The company hasn't gained a lasting asset. It's still just as vulnerable as before.
So the absolutely crucial message here, the non-negotiable takeaway, is that your sales process must be unique to your business. Because your business is unique. You can't just copy-paste a process that works for, say, selling low-cost SaaS subscriptions and expect it to work in a complex, high-capital expenditure manufacturing sale. It just won't fly.
Absolutely not. How you need to sell, how you should sell, is fundamentally shaped by three core factors.
Right.
You can't ignore these. They dictate everything in your sales cycle.
Okay, let's break those down. Factor number one.
Factor one, your product. This is maybe the most obvious one. Think about it. If you're selling something with a really high price tag, millions maybe, or if your product is part of a massive, complex, multi-year installation for the customer, like a custom factory automation line, you just cannot use quick transactional sales tactics. It's impossible.
So what does it dictate instead?
That dictates you must use relationship selling. And that means a defined, often lengthy, multi-step journey. It requires building trust over time, long-term hand-holding. It means systematically moving that potential customer from just initial interest through technical validation, maybe pilot projects, all the way to final budget commitment and sign-off. If your sales process only has 3 steps, like pitch, negotiate, close, you've probably missed the crucial 15 relationship-building steps that need to happen in between for your kind of product.
Makes sense. Okay, factor number two.
Factor two, your target market. Who are you actually selling to? Is it B2B? Selling components or systems to other private companies? Or maybe you sell to publicly funded institutions, hospitals, universities, government agencies. The buying process there is totally different. And even within B2B, are you selling to a small business where one owner makes the decision quickly? Or are you selling into a large corporation with like 5 key decision makers, 3 essential influencers you have to win over, plus a formal procurement department running an RFP?
That complexity has to be reflected in the process.
It absolutely must. Your written process needs defined steps for identifying every single one of those roles and specific actions for engaging with each of them at the right time with the right message. If your star performer just knows who to call and when, that's not good enough. Your process must dictate why and when everyone else on the team needs to make those same calls, engage those same people.
Okay, product market. What's the third factor?
Factor 3, your company culture and structure. How is your sales effort actually organized internally? For instance, do you practice team selling, where maybe engineering and sales have to work closely together on proposals? Do you have separate teams for sales development, like inside sales doing qualification and account executives, outside sales doing the closing? Is customer support completely separate, or do they play a role in identifying upsell opportunities?
These internal structures affect the external process.
They have to. These organizational choices must be baked right into the written sales process. If you have separate inside and outside sales teams, for example, your process document needs specific, documented handoff procedures. It needs quality checks at that handoff point. It needs clear definitions of who owns what and shared accountability metrics. Otherwise, leads get dropped, prospects get annoyed answering the same questions twice, it becomes inefficient and unprofessional. So if you fail to account for these 3 things, your product, your market, your internal structure, you're basically trying to force someone else's generic process onto your unique situation, and it's guaranteed to break under real-world pressure.
Okay, so for the leader listening who's thinking, right, I need to stop hiding from this, I need to get control of sales like I control R&D, the solution seems simple on the surface. Get control.
Yeah.
Apply that same rigor. But the source material is very clear. Simple concept, yes, but not easy to implement. It takes real work.
It absolutely does. It's focused managerial effort. The practical steps boil down to extraction and implementation. If you're lucky enough to have a great salesperson right now, your job is to find out exactly what they do, systematically, and you must document it. Critically, don't just document the results they get. Document the steps, the activities, the decisions that lead to those results.
And let's make that concrete. What does a documented step look like in, say, a complex B2B sale? It's not just call the prospect, right?
Oh, definitely not. A properly documented step is much more specific and actionable. It might look something like this. Post-demo protocol, step 4B. Immediately following the product demonstration, schedule the follow-up review meeting while still on the call. Confirm that demonstrated feature X directly addresses their stated pain point Y. Identify and confirm the next 2 technical stakeholders who must be included in that follow-up meeting. Task completed only when meeting is booked and stakeholders confirmed. See? That's mandatory. It's measurable. It's repeatable. That's a process step. You build out your entire sales cycle like that based on what actually works for you. Then, crucially, you require this entire documented process to be followed rigorously by everyone. And you revise it regularly based on ongoing analysis, that structure refinement we talked about of what's converting and what isn't.
Right. And the payoff for doing this work, it's not just about, sleeping better at night because sales feel less random. It translates into real, tangible business benefits, risk mitigation, value creation.
Absolutely. The first huge benefit is continuity. Simple as that. When that great salesperson inevitably leaves, maybe they get promoted, maybe they retire, maybe they just move on, you won't face a complete disaster. Because the process, that remains. It's the company's asset now. The sales infrastructure isn't dependent on one personality anymore.
That's huge. What else?
Second is onboarding. Think about the time and money wasted right now when you hire a new salesperson. They often spend months just trying to figure out, okay, how do we actually sell things around here? It's trial and error. With a documented process, new hires can get up to speed much, much faster. They have a clear, proven guide to follow from day one, essentially. A roadmap to success laid out by the very person who proved it works in your specific context.
Faster ramp-up time, less wasted effort.
Got it.
And the third benefit.
And the third one, this speaks directly to every founder's or owner's long-term strategic interest. Value for exit. Look, when the time eventually comes to sell the business or retire, potential buyers do serious due diligence. They look for repeatable systems. They want predictability. They hate risk. So eliminating the single biggest risk in many SMEs, which is unreliable, magic-based sales that could evaporate if one key person walks out, that adds tremendous demonstrable value to the company. It transforms the business in a buyer's eyes from just being a collection of talented individuals into a robust, repeatable system for generating revenue. And that system is what they're really willing to pay a premium for.
So the core message, the big takeaway here is stop avoiding the sales function. Stop hoping for magic or just relying on personality. Your brilliant engineering, your efficient production, they deserve an equally brilliant, equally structured sales function supporting them. That structure, that process, it's the only reliable way to sustain success and build real long-term enterprise value.
Yeah. And maybe this leaves a final provocative thought for you, the leader listening right now. Imagine you ask your current sales team, everyone, from the newest recruit to the seasoned veteran, to stop selling for a day and just document their exact activities. What steps do they follow? From the very first contact with the lead all the way to closing the deal. What's their rationale for each step? How many different, unique, probably conflicting processes would actually emerge on paper? And then ask yourself, what financial risk does that hidden inconsistency, that undocumented variation, pose to hitting next quarter's revenue targets?
That's the crucial audit, isn't it? The one that needs to happen now, not later. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We hope this helps you make your revenue generation as systematic and scientific as your engineering. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in with us. For more insights or to connect with our team, visit redboxdirect.com. Until next time, keep scaling smart.